Hey Blake,
Hey Greg,
how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Fine. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's start. All right,
All right.
we have here Blake in the house. Blake Crüsh from Greensboro. Cool guy. Does everything in the world. Neat dude. Enterprising. Cool. Right?
Yeah, I like these compliments. Keep them coming.
Yes. So I'm excited to have you, and I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too, man. This is exciting.
We're gonna have some fun.
We are. I'm looking forward to this.
And the best thing about it is, we can say what we want because nobody watches it. All right. So you ready to get busy?
I'm ready to get busy.
All right. That's our intro.
I like the music.
Thank you. It's pretty cool. It's like 70s type music.
Yeah, it is.
So, Blake, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I've had a pretty good day today.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too.
What's today's date?
Oh, so is it April 5th or 6th? Actually, I'm not totally sure. Let me double.
April 5.
April 5th. Okay, it's April 5th. That's right.
April 5th,
It's April 5th, 2022.
2022.
The year of our Lord, 2022.
the year of our Lord, 2022.
Yeah.
How do you feel, man?
I feel pretty good. You know, I'm excited to be here. I like the setup. It's got a good feel for it. I'm excited, looking forward to talking about some current events.
Exactly, and I also want to hear about you. I've never had kids, so
Kids, I don't technically. I'm
you're,
not a
you're
kid.
an adult.
Yes.
I've never had. I've
A
never
young
had
person.
humans. I've never recreated humans. I've never made a human. So I don't have contact with a lot of young people, young adults.
Yeah.
Are you considered a young adult, or are you?
Yeah, because I'm
you a full-fledged adult?
I consider myself a young adult. I'm not a full-fledged adult, but
What makes you full-fledged?
well, I'm not full-fledged. But I mean, if I were to be, I mean, completely 100% financially independent. I'll admit I'm not 100% financially independent.
Okay.
Past few months I've been unemployed deadbeat, so.
That's okay.
It's okay, but I would like to get something rolling again. But so that's why I consider that. I don't have the life experience to consider myself a full-fledged adult. You know, I'm only 20. I'll be 21 then of the summer. So just a few more months, but
That's okay, but
Yeah.
I understand. I understand you have a crib, you have a house.
I do. That's probably the best thing I got going by me. Is I do have a little townhouse. We renovated it. My parents helped me out with it, and I did do some of the construction myself. I didn't do the best job at it, so I had to try it again. Like put up crown molding and stuff like that. It's got a nice little backyard. It's in a good location. I got some nice neighbors. I helped pay. I got it at a very good time, right before the housing market went crazy.
Right.
I bought it was June 26, 2020.
2020. Is that during or before COVID?
During, so that was a few months into. This was still sort of the early stages of it. We had started looking around April, and originally I thought I was just going to do an apartment. And then after the Fed lowered interest rates dramatically low, you know, my dad was talking to me, he's like, you know, if you're planning on staying in Greensboro for a while, you know, it'd make more sense for you just to buy a place. You know, interest rates are low. You have money saved up from work. You know, we'll help you out a little bit. So we went looking around, and there was a few places we saw. Some of the really expensive HOAs, some of them that were way too expensive out of my price point, some of them that I liked, but my parents didn't like the location of, and
Right.
they're worried about my safety. But we got settled pretty good location by the airport, so I'm close to pretty much everything.
You're close to here, actually.
Yeah, I'm close to you. I mean, I'm like
10 minutes away.
technically I'm like 2 streets away.
Two streets away.
Yeah, technically.
Friendly and Old Oak Ridge?
Yeah. I'm off Old Oak Ridge. Yep.
Okay, we don't want to tell people
Exact
exactly where
location.
you live.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because all your fans will come seeing you.
that's right. So
They'll
no
come to see you.
specific address. No specific address.
Right. In the airport area.
Just in the general airport area.
Because we don't want your fans.
And technically, I don't even know the airport. I mean, technically, there are multiple airports in Greensboro.
Exactly. But we did say the roads.
Yeah, that's true.
So they could triangulate. But they don't know where in Greensboro. Because they're
Yeah,
both long roads.
Yeah, it's a long road. It's a big city.
So you're still safe from all your fan base.
I'm pretty safe. I got alarm. Got myself an alarm.
An alarm?
I got alarm. I got some nice doors.
What's the code?
I can't tell. I can't say that.
Can't say it?
I can't say that. But that was. I think it's 6 or 7 digits. Yeah.
6 or 7 digits.
6 digits.
6 digits.
Yeah. I had to count them first. I almost started mouthing. I'm like, wait. I gotta catch myself. 6 digits.
11111.
There are no ones in it.
There are no ones in it.
You have to try again.
See, you're giving away some clues. Putin's gonna hack it.
I mean,
he can hack it. He's gonna have control over your house.
He could probably just break through the windows. That'd be easier. I mean, he's probably got some pretty nice hardware. I'm sure he can just
get drive a tank through it. He
could undermine the whole thing and just sink in the ground and just like they'll transport away and they'll pile up dirt again and no one will ever know it was there. They'll recreate it piece by piece. They're not gonna just go smash it through. They're not that sloppy.
Right. They just go right through it. Right.
Yeah.
So what's it like being 20 years old, living alone?
It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
Is it an adventure or is it life?
I'd say it could be more of an adventure. Right now, it's just life. I mean, it's exciting because I love my parents, but it's nice. It felt nice to branch out and be on my own, not have to worry about them saying every little thing I'll do, everything I do. I can watch what I want to watch. I have to worry about is it too loud? Is it this? So it's pretty exciting. It makes you a little bit more responsible. You have to be not just cleaning the inside. You have to work to keep cleaning the outside with HOA.
You do your own cleaning.
Yeah, I do my own cleaning.
Inside and outside, your laundry.
The only thing outside don't do is the front lawn is taken care of by the HOA. They have people come like we just had the storm, and so I had a big tree branch that fell and did not hit my car, but it did land pretty close to it, and they removed that. But I have to I help spray. I clean things up around the back. Declutter the gutters almost. Just clean out stuff like that. Thankfully in the winter don't have to do as much of that, but I had to deal with snow. I never plowed a driveway before, so that was fun.
Did you have a shovel?
No. The first snow I did not. The first snow, I didn't realize we were getting that much snow. I thought it would be dusting, so I figured I'll be fine. And then it snowed. I think it was it was like 2 inches, so it's not that much, but for being Greensboro, that's a lot. And I had a rake. I was like,
you rake snow.
I raked at least a little bit of the.
How do you rake snow?
Well, you have a little bit, you have little edges that can scrape a slight amount. If you if you angle at the right angle, you can kind of pull slightly. You're kind of scraping the ground.
Like dusty snow.
Yeah, so it wasn't wet hard snow. So it was a little bit tricky. And of course, I told my dad this. He's like, "Why the hell are you raking snow?" I was like, "Well, I don't have anything else." I'm like, "It's cold out." So I'm not using my hands or kicking it, but
right.
I was like,
did you have to rake it to move your car, or was your car drivable?
My car was
unraked.
Theoretically, it's drivable, but it's not all-wheel drive, so I could, but it wasn't a good idea to drive it out there.
Okay.
But I just wanted to at least get some of it raked out of the way, and the sidewalk in front of my door, just to get that way I can walk out there, go get the mail or whatever. But
this is called adventures in home ownership.
Yes.
Right.
Learning how to do that.
You gotta figure it out. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna use a rake.
Yeah, I don't
have a shovel.
I didn't have a shovel.
I'm just gonna use a rake.
I did have a little garden scoop, you dig dirt, plant flowers. I did have that, but I was.
You'd still be doing it.
I would still be. I figured I'm like, well, this is small. This probably isn't the best. At least the rake is wide. It's got a wide angle.
Right.
It's got a wide radius. If you're smart, you can get enough snow with it.
And did it work?
It worked a little bit. I mean, I didn't spend. I spent after a couple of hours out there. I got a decent amount, but I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again. This was a one-time experience. I'm gonna make sure to have a shovel here. Not a shovel.
Have you bought one?
Yes, I have a shovel now.
Is it red?
It's not red. It's what color is rust? It's a bit rusty. It's an old shovel.
Oh, it's an old metal one.
It's an old metal one.
So it's rusty. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's this tan.
Gotcha.
Beige.
So you got it from your dad's house?
Yeah.
You snagged it.
I did snag it actually.
You snagged it.
I snagged it. It was outside, and so.
You permanently borrowed it.
Permanently borrowed it. He said before, and he was we'll get you can get a shovel. He didn't specify. Oh, you need to buy one. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of shovels lying around my parents' house, a lot of equipment. So I did have that. Did bring it back over, but
so it's an adventure living by yourself.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
You like it?
I do like it. Yeah, it's. I've been waiting a long time for this. Renovating it when we got in June 2020. Renovating it took a lot longer than we thought because we had to do more things. We had little delays. The main change we did was we moved the fireplace 5 feet forward, and that means we had to change the whole chimney and all that, and getting the architect's drawings from that took months. Our architect apparently decided to draw a post office instead of a fireplace, and so she got distracted with other things, and so it got delayed, and so I actually didn't get moved in until the beginning of December 2021. So it was a year and a half later. So I've been there, about 4 months now.
4 months.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like 4 months, but yeah, it's been a third of a year.
Is it creepy being alone?
No, there were a few times a night. Like the first few nights, it was weird because I had never been home alone night before ever. There'd always been like a sibling or my dogs or something. So like I had never been. And even the first couple nights I'd slept there, I had a party, so my friends were crashing the couch. So I'm like, I'm not worried. Whereas there, I was like, okay, it's a tad weird. I didn't have my alarm yet, so I was like, okay, got the doors locked, right? All right.
And so have your friends come over and hung out with you?
Yeah, most of them, they haven't in a couple months because they're at school. They're not in the city. But when they were on winter break in December, we had a little get together housewarming. Then I'd say a New Year's party, but it was like a post New Year's party because they were all. One was in Austria, one was in Pennsylvania. They were all out of town. So when they came back, it was like January 2nd. So I was like, okay, this is a post New Year's party.
So they came over and they hung out. Did you cook for them?
No, we had I had beverages. I had refreshments, but I did not have.
You had
food.
refreshments.
Yeah, I had my fridge, but I didn't have like my propane hooked up or anything like that. So.
Okay. So now that you have everything hooked up.
Yeah, I got everything hooked up now.
Do you cook for yourself or
a little bit?
Eat out? Do you order in?
I do a lot of eating out. That's like I'll bet that's probably where I spend too much money. But I did do some cooking. Like I made some coleslaw just a couple days ago. My family recipe. It's pretty good.
Okay, how do you make your coleslaw?
It's vinegar based because I got an egg allergy. So, probably nothing too special. She originally got this recipe. I say it's a family recipe, but technically it did come from a restaurant in New Jersey. Like that's a diner in Newark, long since closed, from like the 30s. And she got the recipe from there. It's called a wheat quake salad. When she first told me, I thought the wheat quake was like the species from Star Wars. That's how much the Star Wars nerd in me. I was like, wheat quake. I was like, wait, what?
All right, so then you make yourself some coleslaw. But what do you make for dinner? Like an actual meal? Have you made a meal yet?
Yeah, like grilled chicken breast usually. I like red meat. I ate a lot of red meat recently, so I've been trying to cut down on that. So like not so much. I haven't not cooked steak yet. Haven't done steak yet.
You haven't done steak yet. So what do you like? If you're not eating out, what do you cook at home?
I'll get like a chicken breast or I'll make like a turkey sandwich. So it's not like cooking really, but
okay. You're just preparing food.
Yeah, preparing food. Or like I'll get something to go. Or I do eat with my family. Like I do eat. Every few nights they'll go out to eat or they'll cook at home, and I'll go and join them.
Gotcha.
And they'll invite me.
Gotcha. Okay, so so now that we've kind of had some small chit chat, let's get down to nuts and bolts.
Yeah, it's the nitty gritty.
How about that? Nuts and bolts. Okay. So, cool dude, Renaissance man, aspiring politician. When do you find time to sleep?
Well, being a 20-year-old, you're going to have a bad sleep schedule. It's just part of being 20. I mean, I find a little time to sleep. I death after midnight. You like try between midnight and 7. Like nice 7 hours sleep. It's busy, man. You got to do like a lot of reading, a lot of research. You lose track of time. You don't realize how much time goes by when you're doing this stuff.
Doing what stuff?
Reading current event stuff, being prepared, talking to people. There's no 9 to 5 in the political world. There's no after 5 no phone calls, no text, none of that stuff. It's technically in a way 24/7. People in different time zones across the country. So
then the other day at lunch, you told me that you're interested in becoming a politician. This is your
either a politician or at least maybe a political consultant. I'm not sure if I'd be the best campaigner. I think of myself somewhat energetic, but not like I'm not like telegenic. I'm not someone who can just the best public speaker or whatnot. I think I might be more behind the scenes kind of guy.
I think I disagree.
Really?
No, I disagree. I think you'd make a great candidate.
Really? I appreciate that.
Yes,
That's
man.
nice.
I mean, you're young, you're clean cut, gregarious.
Talk a little too fast. I do talk a little fast.
You talk fast, and so I'm having to process everything quicker than I normally do. I'm pretending I'm in New Jersey. They talk fast up there.
Really?
Yeah. But you have...
I've never been to New Jersey.
You never been to New Jersey?
I've never been to New Jersey.
They talk fast up north. They talk fast.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I really haven't traveled that much. I mean, like, I've seen New Jersey from the sky, but I've never been there.
Yeah, they talk fast. New York, Manhattan, fast paced. They talk fast.
And South Florida too. South Florida. A lot of New Yorkers.
Because they're all exactly a bunch of New Yorkers live there.
You know, I never consider myself, a true Southerner, but when I go down to South Florida and I hear all these New York accents and like the mannerisms and like their attitudes, it makes me like, okay, I'm definitely not a Yankee. Like I'm so sick of hearing these New York accents. I'm so sick of
right.
I feel the Tar Heel coming out of me.
So then you want to be a politician.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So then if you're a politician, which party would you be in?
Well, that's the...
Because we have to get everything out.
Yeah.
Because we're introducing you to the world. Mm-hmm. This is your debut. You've been unknown your whole life. Mm-hmm. And now this is your grand opening.
Yeah.
Right? And so we want to know about you so we can vote for you. Right?
Yeah.
We have to know who you are. Mm-hmm. So which party would you run for and why?
Probably the Democratic Party. I am currently registered independent. Mm-hmm. I would say, I got a lot of issues with both parties. I think most Americans do. I consider myself someone who would be an ideal Democrat. Like in a perfect world, I'd say maybe 20 years ago, I'd be right at home with the Democratic Party. No question.
You'd be what?
I'd be right at home with the Democratic Party.
At home with the Democratic Party? Okay.
I would probably run as one, but you have to remember there are different wings of the parties, right? We are a two-party system. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, both parties have had liberal, moderate, and conservative wings. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, it's pretty polarized. You don't have conservative Democrats or liberal Republicans anymore. Rockefeller Republicans.
So there's nobody in the middle. Like
there are a handful, but no new people. You have some old timers who maybe have stuck around. Maybe they survived their primary challenges, and but when they retire, they're going to be replaced by a more partisan hardliner. I just saw this morning one of the Republican congressmen who voted to impeach Trump, Fred Upton, is retiring. He's the fourth one. He's been there since the mid-'80s.
Which state?
Michigan. He represents like Kalamazoo, that area. Mm-hmm. And he says it's not because of the impeachment vote. It's because redistricting cut his district into like 3/4, and he would have had to run against a incumbent Republican, Bill Huizenga.
But he's 80 years old. I mean,
he's actually not that old. He's like late 60s.
Oh, I thought you said he was 80.
No. He came in the 80s. My bad.
He came in the 80s.
Yeah. So he came in there like a young guy.
I misunderstood.
No, it's my bad.
I misunderstood.
My fast mouth.
That's okay. Worst case scenario, if you don't get elected, you can be an auctioneer.
Yeah, I can be actually. Hey, there have been a couple of auctioneer congressmen. Billy Long, who's running for the U.S. Senate in Missouri, who was the best auctioneer in the Ozarks before he ran for Congress.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he represents Missouri's 7th district, I think, in southwest, like Springfield area. He was auctioneer. Got like the tie. Got like he's a big man. Mm-hmm. And he's a fast auctioneer.
So how do you remember all this stuff about congressional districts and states and the names?
I didn't get super into the particulars. What really got me interested into like districts and like this individual Senate races were the Georgia runoffs from November 2020 to January 2021, because those two races were going to single-handedly determine the political path for the next, at the very least, 2 years. Mm-hmm. Because that November, Donald Trump lost the presidential election. He was defeated by Joe Biden. And the Democrats retained control of the House, albeit at a smaller margin. Mm-hmm. I think they lost, it was a net of 11 seats. And they picked up a couple seats in the Senate, Arizona, Colorado, but they didn't do as well as they thought they were going to do. They did not win here in North Carolina. Cal Cunningham lost after an embarrassing text came out.
Cal Cunningham, he had an embarrassing text.
Yeah, he had...
Tell me the text. I like dirt.
Yeah,
long as it's not
it's not like the worst dirt in the world, but so he had campaigned, this guy was not a strongest candidate. He had been a state senator.
Democrat or Republican?
Democrat. The Republican incumbent was a guy named Tom Tillis. Tillis was not super popular. The Republicans didn't... His base was not... He was not popular with the base. He'd voted against the wall and a few other national security issues. Trump called him a rhino, but I think he didn't endorse...
Can you tell us what a rhino is?
Yeah. A rhino is typically was a rare term, but it's more common nowadays. It stands for Republican in name only. It is used to describe moderate Republicans who are insufficiently conservative. They don't stand up for conservative ideas, or they don't stand by Trump as much.
So a rhino is a practical person.
I guess more practical.
Right?
He's less insane.
Right. It's the middle of the road.
And really,
person.
It used to be, if you missed, you took these key votes positions. Like a common one was like, okay, if you're pro-choice, you're a rhino. Like if you can't defend life, you can't defend conservative values. Now it's just if you call out Trump on something, if you maybe say something he doesn't like, even if you vote with him 90% of the time, then you're right. Like Liz Cheney voted with Trump almost more than any other congressman, with that exception maybe two. She's from Wyoming, the most conservative
state.
And
now she's being thrown under the bus.
Yeah, she's
and she's the only one against him, right?
She's one of the few, but she was one of 10. She was the most high profile because she was the number 3 Republican. She was the chair of the conference. That's like the number 3 position.
And didn't she call for him to be impeached?
She called for him to be impeached, which was controversial when that happened. I think it was like mid-January.
Because she's a Republican.
Yeah, they weren't ready to throw her just then because the January 6th riot was still fresh in people's minds. Mm-hmm. So they were like, okay, let's not throw her yet, but like dial it down a little bit. Don't go, don't be too hard on him. And she had a leadership challenge, and Kevin McCarthy stuck his neck out for her, and she beat it. And then a few months later, she kept, hammering Trump on, and then they had the January 6th committee formed, and McCarthy said, I've had it with her, and they recruited Congresswoman Elise Stefanik from upstate New York, a young conservative woman, to challenge her, and she lost her number 3. She lost the party whip. She's now just a regular Republican.
As opposed to a leadership role?
Yeah, she was. So when you're a chair of the conference, your job is to set the tone and messaging of the party.
That's what Liz was doing.
Yeah, that's what she was doing. They were saying you're doing a bad job if you're actively attacking not just Trump but the Republican Party as a whole. You're aiding, you're aiding the Democrats. You're not doing your job as a conference chair.
And she is the daughter of Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney, he was former vice president, Secretary of Defense, White House chief of staff. He held the same seat for Wyoming's at-large district. He was also conference chair at one point in the 70s, I believe.
So it seems like, if I remember correctly, she is more moderate than he is. Is that right?
Moderate when it comes to she acknowledges the election results. On policy, she is very conservative. Like foreign policy, she's more conservative than Trump because she is like her father, a hawk, a neoconservative. She is a big fan of intervention in foreign policy. Trump, at least in his rhetoric, was more non-interventionist, more, let's one of his main things was ending forever wars. He didn't follow through on that, but he at least had the rhetoric on it. So in some ways, she's more conservative than him. And she voted with him, I think it was 95% of the time, which is one of the most out there.
Wow. So I remember Dick Cheney. Mm-hmm. He has another daughter.
Yes.
Who is lesbian,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And did he stick up for her when I remember it was somebody running for president and they mentioned Liz Cheney's sister.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember her name either.
I can't remember her name. Yeah, I can't remember. But they mentioned her, and it was kind of like, man, leave her out of the fray. She ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
I think they first mentioned her was in 2004 during Bush's re-election, because that year gay marriage.
So Democrats, did they bring it up, or
I think
was it a Republican running against Bush?
I think it was Republican-based voters because Bush wasn't primaried by anybody. But Bush, one of the major issues in that election had been gay marriage. There were same-sex ban on several state constitutions and referendums. I think North Carolina might have been one of them, and they were up in that 2004 election up for a vote. And I think they'd asked Vice President Cheney that question, and he's like, "Look, we live in a free society, and freedom means freedom for everybody. And yeah, one of my daughters is gay." And that wasn't a particular issue with Bush. He just wanted to rather keep it on the down low. Mm-hmm. And then it came up.
Did Bush say it or did Cheney say it?
Say what? We live in a free society?
Yeah.
That Cheney said that. Was Bush campaigned against it. Bush, I remember specifically the 2000 presidential debate with Al Gore. He said, I'm opposed to gay marriage. I believe it's between a man and a woman.
Right.
And then I think the issue came up again in 2014 when Liz Cheney first ran for Congress. Now, she did not run for the House initially. She was trying to primary the incumbent U.S. Senator, oh man, what's his name? He actually just passed recently. What was his name? Oh, I feel so stupid.
Okay. That's okay.
Mike Enzi. His name was Mike Enzi. And
how can you remember all this?
Well, I remember he died recently in a bike accident. He was a cool guy. He had one of the coolest offices. A lot of fish stuff. A lot of very Wyoming.
Bicycle accident.
Yeah, bicycle accident. He got hit by a car.
I remember about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just retired too. But so he had He was running for re-election in 2014, which you remember was the second midterm of Obama's presidency, a low turnout year, very good for the Republicans. They won back control of the Senate. They flipped, I think it was 9 seats. And she was challenging Mike Enzi in the primary, and she was unsuccessful. And that issue came up with asked, hey, you have a sister who was lesbian. And this was sort of the peak of the national conversation around gay marriage, because 2015 was when it became legalized nationwide in the Supreme Court case Obergefell versus Hodges.
And that's when the Obama administration overturned.
I don't think they didn't pass a no. The court overturned it. Several Obama nominated justices. It was a 5-4 decision. It was Justice Kennedy, who retired several years ago.
During the Obama.
This was sort of the end. This was 2015. It was Justice Kennedy, Justice Breyer, who's now retiring, Justice Ginsburg, Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Scalia was there.
Yeah, Scalia didn't vote for it, though. Scalia was not one of them. He was one of the 4 who opposed to it. It was a 5-4 decision ruling that that the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause under it, guarantees that states cannot ban gay marriage. It infringes on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And of course, that's one of the most important amendments out there is the 14th, equal protection under the law. Mm-hmm. And so I think at that time, 24 states had same-sex marriage bans still on the books. Several had gotten rid of them. There was still momentum, but that was the year where it just overturned, flipped.
All right, so I have a question for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that in the past 10 minutes you've become a politician.
Yeah.
Okay? You're now a politician.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are going to be listening to you. They're going to be hanging on to every word you say.
Yes.
They're going to try to mix it up. Mm-hmm. They're going to hear only what they want to hear, not the whole sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question, tough question.
Mm-hmm.
As a politician, are you for or against gay marriage?
I'm for gay marriage. I've always been in favor of it. I have gay relatives. I always thought that the Supreme Court ruled it the right decision, and that, this is a free society. We claim to be a nation that champions freedom and individualism, and it doesn't seem fair to me that two people who love each other, two consenting adults who love each other, can't form a life together and can't get the same benefits, same financial benefits that two heterosexual people believe in.
I remember one time I was teaching high school at a Christian school in Thomasville. I was teaching.
I didn't know you were a teacher.
Yes, I taught Spanish for a year and a half.
Cool.
I taught Spanish. And we had this nice black girl. She was real tall and slim.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a basketball player. She was there on scholarship. And I could tell one day she was messed up. There was something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget her name. I'm like, after class, I was like, I want to talk to you. Okay. So we went to the library, where there's windows and
mm-hmm.
people can see us, right? So I'm not alone with a young girl, right?
Yeah.
So we sat down at this library table, and I said, just tell me what's wrong, because you're not right. She says, my mom's mad at me. Well, why is your mom mad at you? She's yelling at me. Why is she yelling at you? She called me queer. I told her I was gay, and she called me queer.
Mm.
You know what I said to her?
What'd you say?
So what? You're gay. Doesn't matter. There's nothing to talk about.
What did she say back to that?
She's like, you're right, but I can't get my mom to listen. So her mom was a very conservative woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, she sent her daughter to a Christian school.
It's a Christian school. So they had, these old school Christian ideology,
mm-hmm.
and she was upset. And I hit her between the eyes. I just asked her. And when she told me, I was like, okay. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have a big deal is when your house is being shelled by Russia and you live in Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're a dude and you have a boyfriend, if you're a girl, you have a girlfriend, you want to get married, that's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And most Americans' opinion now. I mean,
right.
I think it's like, I haven't seen the latest poll. I'm not sure if they really even poll it that much anymore. I think it's like 2/3 to 70%. So you're going to have a significant minority who will always be opposed to it. but their beliefs are no longer reflected. I mean, it is really surprising. Of all these social issues in America, none of them moved as quickly in change of opinion as gay marriage did.
You're right. They actually moved quicker than the African Americans.
Yeah, I mean,
they have to suffer.
Yeah. Well, and they all suffer. I mean, I think,
but the gays went through quickly.
It went through very quickly. I think the first year that Gallup started polling national gay marriage was 1996. At the time, I think only like 33% of Americans supported it. 2/3 were opposed to it or weren't sure. And that number was sort of slightly, that 2/3 were opposed was slightly decreased year by year. The real, I think the turning point was, I think, in 2008, which was the year Barack Obama got elected president. And when he ran, he said he was opposed to it. So did now President Biden. As of that year, California had a proposition to place a ban on same-sex marriage, and it passed. It was close, but it passed. And then I believe the threshold year was 2010, when a very slight majority of Americans said they supported it. And then I remember Romney campaigned against it. And then sort of after 2012, it still is an issue, but it wasn't the major forefront issue. A lot of people just sort of accepted this is just going to happen at some point. At some point, the courts are going to legalize it. At some point, it's just going to happen. It's just inevitable.
You know what's interesting to me is that you have a politician, just say Obama, for example, okay? In the beginning, he was kind of quiet on gay marriage.
Yeah.
But in his second term, he was like, gay marriage is awesome. And it got passed. And he lit up the White House.
Yeah, the rainbow.
And the rainbow.
Yeah.
Remember that? So it's interesting how a politician can be like they have a secret agenda in the back of their heads, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I need to get elected. So I'm not going to run my mouth too much about it. I'm just going to stay cool about it. But if I get a second term, I'm gonna change it because I have nothing to lose now, right?
Yeah.
It's the last time I'm running.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting how
I mean, I can't read Obama's motivation if he sincerely had a change of heart. I know Biden certainly did, because Biden, is a religious man. Obama, not as much. He's not as much a religious guy. He didn't make public references to God like other politicians do, like even like the way that Biden does. So I don't know if it was sincere or not. I mean, I think Obama was just scared to talk religion in general because there were so many people who thought that Obama was a secret Muslim or he was there was all sorts of
born in somewhere else, right?
They thought he was born in Kenya because his father was born in Kenya. Because his father was born in Kenya. His father, and Obama really didn't know his father that well. He was raised by his stepfather in Indonesia. And so y'all like, he's a secret Muslim, which first of all, there's no constitutional prohibit on religion, right? I mean, all presidents have been Christians, but many of them have been, everything good?
Yeah. Like I said, the phone's hooked up, so yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, like some of them have been Protestant, some of them have been Catholic. I mean, it doesn't even matter, but he wasn't one. In fact, I remember one of the scandals during his original presidential election was his pastor in Chicago, Jeremiah Wright, had made some controversial comments.
Jeremiah Wright, that's right. And then he kind of disowned him.
He distanced himself from him. He gave this great speech in Philadelphia, distancing himself from him, that even like a lot of Republicans were like, give him credit. That was a solid speech. But then when he got elected, a lot of them thought, maybe not the politicians, but a lot of base voters thought he's a secret Muslim. Maybe because his name was Hussein, middle name is Hussein, which is an Islamic name. And, I mean, really a lot of them just didn't make any sense. There was one picture, I think, of him, like he's dressed in, like, I think it was maybe a turban, like some white robes at like a foreign event. Because he did grow up in Indonesia.
When he was a young kid, he was just dressed in the way they dressed in that country. Like, he was dressed
I don't remember where it was, but I remember seeing that picture.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember which country it was. I don't think it was Kenya, because Kenya's...
All right, we're back. We just had to change the battery.
All right, so I was where was I? Yeah, so Obama did grow up in Indonesia, which is the fourth largest country in the world. I don't think it's the largest Islamic country, but Islam is the state religion there. All the schools you do learn about Islam. It's not a madrasa, like it's not like a seminary, but he did receive probably an education within Islam.
So if you're Muslim, you're not a terrorist.
You're not a terrorist, of course.
You're not.
No, of course not.
Oh, okay. It doesn't make you a terrorist.
No, it doesn't make you a terrorist.
Not being a Christian.
No religion inherently makes you a terrorist. Okay. You don't have to be religious to be a terrorist.
You need to be crazy as shit.
You can be crazy as shit. You can be crazy as shit. As long as you're killing civilians for a goal, that makes you a terrorist.
Right.
But yeah. So So I mean, people call him he's a Muslim sympathetic, or he was sympathetic, I think he said the Muslim Brotherhood, which he had no connection to. I do think he was more sympathetic to Muslims in general than most Americans, probably because he understood them better. He grew up at least several years in Islamic society. He probably, his schools, not super familiar with the Indonesian education system, but I know that because Sunni Islam is the state religion, it was probably incorporated in some way into their primary education. So he probably understood at least the basic theology behind it, and at least the culture versus most people who probably never met one in their life.
Are you ready for another political question?
Yeah.
Abortion.
Well, I knew this was coming.
It has to come.
I knew this had to come. See, this is where I go, I don't know if I favor in either party, because I think my view on abortion is pretty nuanced. Neither the Republican nor the Democratic party policy accurately reflects Americans' views on abortion. I am pro-choice. I do not think abortion is a right. I do not consider it health care. I don't support late-term abortion. And I don't think it should be taxpayer funded. I am understandable people who find it very difficult to comprehend the concept, and they don't want their tax dollars going to it. I don't like my tax dollars going to fund drone strikes in Pakistan and Somalia that are killing kids. And for many religious conservative people, that's the same level. They see that as both, mass murder. So I don't believe it should do that. But I do think it's a personal decision that is made between a woman and her doctor. I think you can't hour ban it. You're never going to get rid of it completely. You're just going to make it more dangerous. Mm-hmm. I am concerned when I see that the Supreme Court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. I think Roe v. Wade is settled law, as do most Americans. I think my view is pretty nuanced on it.
So then, you're for it.
Yeah,
but you don't like it.
I'm for. I don't love it. I don't consider it a right. People say it's a right because it's healthcare. Well, I don't consider it a healthcare procedure. It's an entirely different feel on its own. Because you do have elective abortions. We also have people who are raped and they become pregnant. Now, a lot of pro-life groups say that makes up less than 1% of abortions. But does that mean it doesn't matter just because it's only 1%? That's still a horrible situation to happen. And so I don't.
It's like double traumatizing.
It's double traumatizing.
It's double trauma. Right?
Yeah, it's like why should I? Yeah.
And then you got 9 months. You got to live with this problem.
Yeah.
And then you got to have the baby.
Yeah, it's like
that's triple. It's
triple. Yeah, and you still feel bad for the baby if she does have the baby. It's like, well, that baby's going to grow up in a bad situation. But it's like, that woman didn't ask for that to happen to her. She wasn't consent to that. It was rape. And so it's like, I don't love it, but I recognize this is going to happen. Abortion's going to happen. The best way I've always thought, the best way to prevent abortion is prevent the need for an abortion. Prevent the need for it. And that's making sure that people have access to health care. That's making sure people have access to social safety nets. People have access to sexual education so you don't have unwanted pregnancies. That's always the way I've saw it, is, if you want to prevent the need for it.
So would you ever vote to make it more difficult for a woman to have an abortion?
If it were naturally legalized, like zero restrictions up until the moment until birth, I would support a bill that restricted in the third trimester, yes. Because I believe by that point, a fetus can feel pain. By the I think they say the 6th or 7th month, a fetus has had a heartbeat and has pain sensors. So yes, at that point I would. But the first and second trimesters, no, I would not. So I feel like
you're making sense.
I'm not making sense.
No, I mean you are making sense. I'm on board with you.
I think that's most American. The Democrats don't reflect it accurately because they think it's a right, they think it's health care, and they think there should be restrictions up until birth, or no restrictions up until the moment of birth. Republicans think it should be illegal, period, no questions asked. Some of them will give you like
black or white.
Yeah, well, some of them will be a little more lenient, like, okay, well, if it's a rape or incest, we'll be a little more lenient, but most of them, no.
Who only sees black and white?
Sith, that's right. Only Sith deals in absolutes.
Right, exactly. And who said that?
That was Obi-Wan. But also, remember...
where were they?
That was Mustafar.
Exactly.
But Yoda once... was it Yoda? I think it was Yoda who said, do or do not, there is no try.
Do or do not, there is no try.
Mm-hmm. The Jedi were pretty hypocritical, at least at that point. Yoda maybe not so much, but Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, all those guys.
Right, yeah. Mace Windu went in there to kill Palpatine, right?
He went in straight.
He went in there, man.
They were not going to arrest him. They were going there to kill him.
They were going to kill him. I mean, you just had to get him out.
But then they all died.
And then at the very end, Anakin said, "You can't do this.
You can't do this. He has to stand trial. But he has control of the Senate and the courts. He's too dangerous to be left alive."
That's the exact line.
Mm-hmm. I am a Star Wars nerd. I don't consider myself a nerd, but a Star Wars nerd, yes. Yes, no question.
I love Star Wars too.
Really? It's cool.
My posters,
yeah,
right?
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, so you ready for some more questions?
Yeah, sorry, we're off topic. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's okay. I mean, because we were talking about abortion.
Yeah.
So this flows into abortion. Are you a virgin?
I am, yeah.
You are?
I am, yes.
Is that the truth?
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Are you saying
why would
Are you
anybody...
saying this because your mom and dad are going to watch this?
They don't know about this. I mean, my dad knows. My dad may watch it, but no, I'm dead serious. I'm not. I'm not proud of the fact that I am. I mean, I mostly blame myself. I don't try. I don't, ever since COVID, and after I finished high school, I don't talk to girls.
Are you saying this just to protect the women you've made love to?
I am dead serious. Why would I?
This is true. You're not trying to protect some women.
I'm dead serious. I am dead serious.
Right,
I'm a virgin. I've never even gotten head before. Probably shouldn't have said that if I'm doing a political thing, but I'm serious.
Have you kissed a girl?
Yeah, I've kissed a girl.
I've kissed her. Tongue?
No.
Not with the tongue?
Not with the tongue.
Okay. Just on the lips or on the cheek?
On the lips. On the
lips?
Cheek and lips, but not tongue.
No tongue?
No tongue.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I mean, after high school, I really didn't interact with that many girls my age who either weren't relatives or coworkers, right? So I've always had a thing with I'm not gonna date coworkers, but that's a separate thing. I view that the people I worked with, I view them as close, almost I wouldn't say family, but I cared about them. I'm I'm not gonna date you guys, but so I really, and I blame myself. I don't put myself out there. I'm lazy in that regard. I'd like to have a girlfriend, but it doesn't kill me that I don't. I have a lot of other good things going for me. But yeah, I think I'm the only person in my friend group except for one guy who is pretty religious.
Have you ever seen the movie Weird Science?
No.
You haven't?
No, what's it about?
Weird Science is a movie from the 80s, and Kelly LeBrock was the girl, and so these guys, they invented a girl. They made a girl.
I think I've heard something
with their computer.
Yeah.
Okay, the boobs and the butt and everything, right? They made this girl, and that song "Lady in Red."
Yeah.
By Christian Bird.
I've heard that song. Yeah.
That's from Weird Science.
Okay.
Okay. So she was the hot one, and they made her. Okay. She was a bombshell. So having said that, when it comes time for you to get this monkey off your back, do you have in your head sketched out a girl?
You mean do I have a type? A type of...
Yeah. I mean, you have it sketched out I do. What you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point I shouldn't be too picky because I'm 20 and I'm I worried I need to get it over soon. Otherwise, it's gonna become a weird thing. Oh, why isn't he? But it's not an excuse I'm pretty religious and I believe I'm practicing abstinence and that's legit. But it's if you want to, but you just haven't even tried. It's come on, man. You're being lazy.
Yeah, but I mean, so.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna
I have a type. Yeah, I have a type.
Girl. I mean,
I have a type.
Just get rid of it because it's just some girl there. She's like,
yeah, I never.
Hey,
that's part of the reason I never want this is cheesy
or
romantic. I never want my first time to be meaningless. After that, there can be cases, but first time I was I wanted to at least have some meaning. Whereas because I've had a couple opportunities where I could have, but I'm I don't want it this, not like this,
not like this,
not like this.
Was it the girl just threw herself on you? Or
no, not
you're at a party. And
we were at a party. No, neither one of us were drunk because she was the driver.
The DD.
The DD. That's what I was trying to do. I almost said DI. DD. Yeah,
DD.
I was DD too because I'm not a big drinker. I'm not
You're
a drinker.
always DD.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker. I mean, I drink before, but not at parties. And so we were both sober. But I was not like this. It was a St. Patrick's Day party right before COVID.
And so what'd she do? I mean, how'd you know she wanted to get fresh? What went down?
She touched my thigh, really close, and we kissed a little bit. I was like, no. And the time was also really bad too, because this was towards the end of the party, and so all the guys, my buddies, it was I was driving 3 of them. I didn't have to take them all back to their individual houses though. I was I kind of just don't feel like it. I was not like this. I'm
not like this.
Not like this. I'm I don't want
Was she pretty?
She was decently pretty, yeah. She was pretty. She wasn't usually my usual type though. She was blonde. I'm usually not a blonde guy.
You like girls with brown hair?
Brown hair, yeah.
Brown hair.
Brown and black hair, but not really blonde.
Your height? Shorter?
My height.
Your height?
Not tall, but not too short.
So then the girl your ideal girl that you would do it with, right?
Yeah.
You would consummate a relationship with.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're a politician and we have to.
Of course, and because I'm a politician, I should totally be saying all this stuff.
No, I mean, actually, for the Republican base, they would like to have somebody who hasn't tried to reproduce before.
That's true.
Reproduce
some
humans.
of them, it's tricky. I mean, some of them, a lot of those religious ones, a lot of them are cheating on their wives, but they've asked for forgiveness, and forgiveness does matter, but they're not actually sorry.
Right. So then, what's your ideal girl?
Probably like my height, smart. I don't like. I don't say I don't like dumb girls. I don't want to say that's mean, but like I'm not interested in someone who's dumb. Mm-hmm. Gotta have a good sense of humor in terms of like body. Like probably my height. Chubby. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a stickler for skinny girls. So
like thick.
Kind of thick, yeah. Not obese, but like not obese, but like on the chubby side, yeah.
I have a story.
Okay.
Listen to this. So then when I was like,
all ears.
So when I was like maybe 27 years old,
mm-hmm.
had a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Nice girl. I won't say her name.
Okay.
Nice girl, dark hair, and she was very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
She was strong. She was a strong girl, right? Like a soccer player type girl.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So she says to me, this is a life lesson for you. She says, we've been dating maybe 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, oh, well, tell me something you like about me. Tell me something you like about me. I'm like, I like your long brown hair. She's like,
mm-hmm.
no, something about my body, something about my
body. Hair's body.
Yeah, hair's body.
That actually counts. Yeah.
She's like, no, something about my body. I'm like, you have nice legs.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, tell me something more about what you like about me. I said, I like you because you're thick. She said, what? I said, I like you because you're thick. She started crying.
Really?
She started crying. I'm like, why are you crying?
No.
I'm like, why are you crying? You calling me thick. I said, thick is good. She says, thick is fat. I said, no, thick is good.
This was a different time.
This is back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I was like, thick is good.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, thick is fat. I said, Marilyn Monroe is thick. Right?
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe is thick.
But back then, having the fat ass was like a bad thing. Like,
yeah, I was like, thick is good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to back up on that one.
But you were able to like reconcile. Like,
that
wasn't like the end of it. Like,
I had to back off the thickness.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of my head, I'm like, you thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you like kind of thick girls.
Yeah.
You just can't call them thick. Can you call them thick now?
Yeah, you can. You gotta be careful.
Thick now.
Yeah, you can. You say it with 2 C's though. Don't say it with a K because that makes it sound like that makes the same with a K. But if you say it with like 2 C's, like THICC. Yeah, I'm not good speller by the way.
How do you say it?
Thick. You say thick. You say the same, but like if you're spelling it, you don't say the K. You say 2 C's.
Oh, you mean when you're texting it?
Yeah. Well, you can. It's still the same thing. But like when you're saying.
I'm talking about speaking it.
Well, speaking it sounds the same. Yeah.
But texting's different.
Texting, yeah, you have to. You don't put that. You don't say the K.
For real.
You don't use the K.
So when
because that makes it sound like that sounds like an insult, like you're thick in the head, or like you're just like you're dumb.
So when you're texting your girl and you're like, oh, I like that butt, it's thick, and when you text it, you put THICC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's like,
I don't know where it came from, but that's just how it is. I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you adjust.
You adjust the last letter. You don't
adjust the spelling to make it not offensive. Mm-hmm. But it's still the same word.
It's still the same word. And like you got to be careful. You don't want to like use it like in the middle of you don't want to use it to someone like you don't know or like because then they're going to take an insult regardless. But like,
but if it's your girlfriend, like yeah.
Especially because it's just in right now. It's just like it's not a bad thing.
So thick is in.
Yeah.
So then my ex-girlfriend just like 30 years late.
Yeah, she was. I mean, I was in I wasn't alive in the 90s, but I did see movies from the 90s, and so I'm like, yeah, like that was like a bad thing to be, to have like a big ass or whatever.
Oh. So you like him kind of thick?
Yeah.
Okay. Was this girl thick?
No, not really. But I mean, she was pretty, but she wasn't thick. She was pretty skinny.
You didn't waste your time on that.
Yeah. I'm glad it was. I I took the guys back. One of them threw up, not in my car, but in the side of the car. He opened the door as it happened, so he got on my door. But I was like, all right, well, that was going to happen probably. I was like, this is how you honor St. Patrick. He kicked the snakes out of Ireland for us, and this is how you honor him.
Okay, so you want to go on to the next question?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Were you named after Robert Blake?
No, I wasn't named after anybody. This is actually, I wish my name had a cool meaning. I was almost Howard. Thank God I was not Howard. I would have been named after Howard Stern.
Oh.
My parents, but specifically my mom, are big Howard Stern fans.
Right.
Most of my mom, but my dad.
Do you know who Robert Blake is?
Maybe the name sounds familiar. Is he an actor, right?
He's an actor.
Yeah, I can't put a face in the name, but
he was in a show called Beretta.
Like the gun?
Like the gun, yeah, Beretta. Tony Beretta.
Okay.
Back in the 70s. You never saw it?
No. I wish I'd seen more. There's a lot of movies.
Ask your parents if you were named after Robert Blake. Because Beretta's
they've probably seen the movie. I
don't mess with Beretta.
To be true, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I've ever asked them. Was I named after somebody? I know when I was born, they did not have Blake picked out for. Like they did not know my name was going to be. I think the only one they had in the name aside was my sister. They knew that she was going to be Casey. Though my grandfather wanted her to be was it Jennifer or Madeline? It was one of those. But yeah, so I was almost Howard. So I'm glad I'm Blake.
Blake's cool. Mm-hmm. Because your nickname could be Beretta.
My nickname's Blake from that Key and Peele skit.
Oh, yes.
I've been called that since I was
yes.
Let's see, I think I was like 13. I remember.
The substitute teacher.
Yeah, and my actual teacher showed it in class. My one of my favorite teachers ever. This guy's named Mr. Smith. He's a principal now, but he was my history teacher in 7th grade, and he called me that. And that was like right when the skit came out, and like so a lot of the kids hadn't heard of it. So he pulled it up on his computer, on the prompter, and played it in class. And so like ever since then, that was my name was Blake. Yeah, that was just what people called me.
So you're able to take ribbing and lighthearted fun and whatnot. You don't take these things seriously. You don't take life seriously.
Yeah, I don't take life seriously, but like with school stuff, then yeah, like look, you're a guy in school, like public school. You got to have a little bit of a spine. I mean, there's not bullying or whatever. I wasn't bullied. I always thought there really wasn't bullying in our schools. Like people getting shoved in lockers or whatever. But there was cyberbullying. You would call people, you would talk shit about people, but you didn't.
Right.
It was like that. But yeah, I was called Blake. I don't love the nickname, but at least it's got a neat story. It's not like named after a bad thing. It's named after a funny skit. Yeah, so it's one
of the best skits.
It's one of the best skits. I'm like, that's cool. There could be a lot worse ones out there.
Right. Yeah. That's a good one. Well, you ought to watch Beretta sometime.
I should, Beretta. You see, seriously, I thought they pissed on the gun, like the Italian gun company. I was like, Beretta. I'm like, that was the teenage guy who played Call of Duty. It was like, oh, the Beretta. Yeah, I can remember that.
Yeah, Beretta. He was this detective. Mm-hmm. I think he might have been like this Italian guy or something.
Was this like a noir film, like a crime noir movie?
No,
it sounds like it.
It was like Rockford Files.
Okay.
Or Columbo.
Yeah, I've heard of Columbo.
You heard of Columbo? It's like Columbo.
Okay.
So then, I think the guy who played Columbo's last name was Faulkner. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Beretta was cool. He had a white parrot.
A white parrot, really?
He had a white parrot, and nobody messed with him. Tony Beretta.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. So ask your parents if you're named after Robert Blake.
Robert Blake, not Tony Beretta. So asking them, they'd be like, no, your name is not Tony, not Beretta. What a stupid question.
They might call you Beretta in secret.
Beretta, interesting.
Hey, call Beretta.
My dad has a Beretta. It doesn't use it, but I remember he has a Beretta. I fired it once.
Your secret nickname may be Beretta.
Maybe Beretta. Well, they never called me. My parents never knew about the Blake thing until like 2 years ago. I thought, I'm like, you guys, have I never told you guys this? Have you never heard like when my friends would be over, like they would ever call me Blake? Like you never heard that until I showed them the skit. But even then, they never caught on. I mean, my dad calls me. I mean, several adults call me Blakey still this day, even though I'm like 20. They just call me Blakey or like Dilly. That was also another one. I don't know where that one came from. I don't like dill pickles, so I don't know where the Dilly came from. But
all right, so here's another question. Mm-hmm. Since you were born, you have never you've always had a cell phone.
Like since I was a baby, no.
But I mean, in your life, your first phone. Did you ever have a phone on the wall?
In my house, yeah, not my bedroom.
Your house,
yeah, not my bedroom, no.
So you remember phones on the wall?
Yeah, I remember phones on the wall. We still have one.
Does it work?
I don't know. I think it's in my parents' bathroom, so I actually don't know. It might.
All right.
Maybe. But I remember phones. Yeah, I remember phones on the wall.
Okay, so then, Do you remember life without the internet?
No, because I had access to the internet from a young age. Of course, we had like blockers on there, like, Norton Safety Program, and we had the computer lab in school. Kindergartners, you take like, I think you could use the computer lab like it was like probably like once a week for like just like assignments and whatnot. So, internet, no, not really. I remember life before like Apple products, like before like iPhones. I do remember that, but like internet, no, not really.
So then, could you imagine me being your age 30 years ago? Me being your age, where I would get information from because the internet didn't exist.
It'd be so difficult. Like,
where would I get information from? Just
you have to go to the library. If like you were like a school project, like you had to go go to the library. Like we had a library, but didn't use it that much. You have your phone, you just pull things up on there.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
When I was your age, I had to go to the library to get info. And I had to use a Dewey Decimal System.
We did learn that. I don't remember it very well, but we did learn that in elementary school.
Yeah, and then you pull out those racks of of cards, and you go through the cards.
Yeah.
Like 121.15, whatever it was, and then you go and then you find what you're looking for. You pull it out, and then you go to the row, and then you go to the rack or whatever, to the shelf, and then you find your book.
I vaguely remember that just because like we only use it like. We learned the Dewey Decimal System in elementary school, but when you're an elementary kid, you're not going to the library anymore. You're in class, so like you're only going to the library you're going to the library with your class, like on a certain day. Like that's like you have like alternate things you do in the week, but you're like listening to the teacher. Then maybe you do like a little browsing like for books, but you're not using it. Nobody used the Dewey Decimal System. You just went and grabbed a book. Like it wasn't a big library, but I vaguely remember the Dewey Decimal System. I vaguely remember it.
So it's weird, man.
It's got to be, yeah.
For me, it's still weird that I can get the weather in Bangkok right now if I wanted to. When I was your age, the only way for me to get weather in Bangkok was to call a hotel in Bangkok and ask them what the weather is.
That's expensive. Imagine the charge on that international call.
How else?
How would you even know the number to call? Like, how would you know? Here's a hotel. How would you know?
So then that's a good question. So how do I guess I'd have to. Maybe it was I'd have to call American Express and find a brochure.
Maybe you call like a Hilton or like I think it'd be a Hilton back then. Like Hilton would have had one, so you have to call like Hilton. Can you give me like the number for your Hilton Bangkok thing? And then they probably have like, a list of all their locations. Yeah. So they got to probably do that.
Yeah. So you look in the phone book for a Hilton. You call your local Hilton, and then from them you get the number to Bangkok.
Yeah, they probably could do that.
And then you ask them what the weather is. Can you imagine that? And now you get the weather on your phone. The 10-day forecast.
Yeah, I do remember life before like cell phones. Like internet, no, but cell phones kind of, yeah. Like elementary school, my dad had a BlackBerry. He misses it. He's like, I wish they still made the BlackBerry stuff. As he hates iPhones, he hates tapping on glass. But so I do remember life before like cell phones. Because I got my iPhone. What was it? When I went to middle school, so it was like 12 maybe when I got it. Yeah, it's still. So I do remember life was like before that. I'm like, it was a lot more peaceful, but
now everybody can get in touch with you, man. My phone's always beeping and vibrating and this, that, and the other.
So I just keep mine all the way off and I'm missing things.
I mean, it's like emails and all. I mean, it's like leave me alone, man.
Yeah, it never stops.
Leave me in peace.
I know, and it never stops.
Right. So that's the bad part. The good part about it is I can be anywhere in the world with my cell phone. And I can take a call and book a taco truck event.
That's right.
So that's why I can stay away for 2 and 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time. As long as I have my phone, like a laptop nearby, I can kind of work virtually.
Yeah, you can do remote. So remote work really wasn't that bad for you, at least in that regard, when a lot of businesses started doing remote work in the beginning of the pandemic. Now, of course, if you were to like work in something like a restaurant, that'd be a little bit more difficult probably, but...
So, we have to look at the poll numbers after this podcast, after it's on TV,
to
see where you're polling in the polls for prosperous politicians.
Well, the first thing I think probably state representative. I think for one thing, age-wise, Congress you had to be 25 run for the House, 30 for the Senate, and 35 for president. So, I can run for the Senate.
What do you qualify for?
I could be state representative because you have to be 21 and at least 21 before you take the seat. So if like you're running the candidate as 20, like I would do, That's still allowed as long as you take the seat by the time you're 21. I don't know if we've ever had a state representative who's 21, at least in my lifetime. You have a couple in their 20s, but they're like their late 20s or like the few you do have, like in general state representatives who are like 21 or whatever. They're usually like college activists. Like they represent like a really small seat that's like just their college, whatever, something like that. But it's it's a difficult job to run for Lee's state because you don't make really any money. You get a per diem, and it takes. Some of them are full-time, some of them are part-time. I think North Carolina is a part-time, so it's mostly older people who have money, who can afford to run and have time. Whereas Congress, you can make a lot of money, so it's a little more enticing.
I see. So then they move up the scale.
They move it up, yeah.
And then they get to Congress, and then when you're in Congress, you're typically in there for a long time, right?
Yeah, it depends like where you are.
They stay.
Some people leave to go in the private sector, become a lobbyist, because you make even more money that way. I think that I don't remember the average. I think the average is like, I think it's like 10 years, because you have plenty who are only there for like one term, and a term's 2 years, because they either lose re-election, or maybe something happens or they want to run for a higher office, or they just decide to retire, spend more time with their family. But then you have people who are there, like Don Young, the dean of the House, who just died a couple weeks ago, who was there since the beginning of Nixon. He was there from 1971. So I guess not the beginning of Nixon, but since Nixon, 1971 to 2022, he was there for 49 years. And the longest ever was a guy named, was it John Dingell, I think his name was? I know his last name was Dingell. He was a congressman in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He was elected. He was in his mid-20s. He was 25, just, kid. He was elected in 1955, and he retired at the end of 2015. He was there middle of Eisenhower through the end of Obama. He was chairman of probably every committee out there. His wife now holds a seat. His father held a seat before him, so that Ann Arbor seat has been represented by Dingell for almost a century.
So getting that would be tough.
Getting that would be tough, especially because you got to decide primaries, redistricting challenge. Do you even want the job? It's an exhausting job, especially it's hard on your family just being away from them that long, because DC is far away for a lot of people. For me, it wouldn't be that ridiculously far away. It'd only be like 4 or 5 hours away. But a lot of people, when they live in DC, a lot of them live in their offices. I think it's like almost half of Congress, they sleep in their offices when they're there.
They do.
They sleep on the couch.
Why?
DC real estate's expensive. Ever since the 90s, DC has grown.
Oh, so they can't afford.
They can't afford it.
Even though they have a good salary.
Yeah, they still can't afford it.
They can't afford a pad in DC.
No, DC is like, it's always been expensive, but ever since the 90s, we've had like this sprawl, and it goes into Maryland and Northern Virginia, and even now like the tip of West Virginia. If you bunker up with some of them, like if you have like other roommates for congressmen, if you do that, you can maybe afford them. But a lot of them, you make decent money, but you're not insanely wealthy. So it's like you still have your place back home, and you're still paying for your family. So a lot of them just sleep on the couch because they're only there like half the week.
I think you'd make a good politician, Blake.
I think I'm too honest. So like I wouldn't have answered the question of the virgin one probably earlier if I wanted to be the politician part.
Well, actually, when you get on the campaign trail, you're gonna be asked some really crazy questions.
That's true.
The virgin question's light. It's easy.
Yeah, I don't.
It's easy.
I don't know if they're asking that.
Compared to what they can ask you on the trail, because they can ask you some stuff to trip you up.
They will. They have you have trackers too. I don't know how this is even legal, but like the opposition teams will always hire for the people whose sole job is to follow you around and literally record everything you do. And often you get to know the tracker. Like a lot of times you know their name and they know you. They have like a little handheld cam and they record everything you say. It's just their job. They just follow you around and just record you.
To get dirt on you.
Yeah, they don't always get dirt on you, but pretty much I don't know if they do that for like state politics, but national, yeah, you have a tracker. Everybody has a tracker. Sometimes they get dirt in like ends of campaign. I can't think of that particular. I don't even get back. This brings me back that Cal Cunningham text. I totally got off topic.
Yes. What did he say?
So he'd run a very clean cut campaign. He was running for a seat. He had the odds. He was a state senator like 20 years ago. So he'd been out of it. He was very much running on I'm a family man. I'm a former combat veteran in Afghanistan. I got like my own business. I'm a small business owner, and a text that came out had been leaked by the National File, which is not the most reputable reputation. It's more of like one of those right-wing smear things. It's kind of like a right-wing Occupy Democrats group. And they had came out with a text. I don't know how they got their hands on this. In October, that he had sent a message to the wife of another veteran that he knew who lived in California. And they were apparently having an affair. He said this: "You are historically sexy." He said that. It was like the lamest thing in the world. Like, this man's got no game. You can't be a senator. Like,
no.
And there was a few other ones that came out. Like
maybe he's still a virgin.
Maybe he's got 3 kids. I mean, I guess something must have happened by accident.
Okay.
But
historically sexy.
Yeah, so it's like I mean, it wasn't like horrible. It's just like it's just lame. And it ruined his image. It's like he had
like you're hot as shit.
And remember, he was still an active veteran. So like it's like wait a minute. I think that technically. He wasn't court. I'm not sure if he got court-martialed. I think he might have been because that's technically a violation of military law. Like I think engaging.
Unfair.
Yeah, the fair. If you were a veteran, and I think it's like with a spouse veteran, I think that's technically a violation of military
so
martial law.
So wrote that to her. She disclosed it.
I think her husband disclosed it.
Her husband found it. He disclosed it.
I don't know if he sent it to the National File, but he sent it to somebody, and National got hold of it. They published it, and he was silent for like a week, and he admitted it. Yes, these are real.
Cal's out. Tom Tillis is in.
Yeah, he stayed off the campaign trail. It was a close race, though. Tillis did outperform Trump. I mean, Trump won North Carolina by like a point. I think Tillis won by like 2 points. And it costed Cunningham the campaign. I mean, remember, Chuck Schumer briefly said before the Georgia runoffs, we lost the Senate because Cal Cunningham couldn't keep his zipper up.
Oh, yeah.
But then
that's a Schumer line.
Yeah, that's a Schumer line. But then Chuck's a funny guy.
His niece is?
Who? Chuck Schumer's niece?
Yeah.
Who?
Amy Schumer.
I think they're cousins. Are they nieces?
Oh, cousins?
They are related.
Cousins, okay,
I do related. I don't think they're nieces, but
cousins. Amy Schumer.
Yeah, they're related. That's right. Yeah, Chuck Schumer. I mean, he's a funny guy. Like he's like on a personal. He's a really cool guy. He's long time been there in New York since I think the 70s. From I think he's from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And now he's a majority leader. And so that was during the runoff period where they didn't know if they were going to win those 2 seats in Georgia. And they ended up winning them. And, of course, one of them is up for re-election already. So it was a special seat.
All right. So, let's talk about the news.
Yeah.
Because this show is about politics and news. So we have to get some news in before I give you your pop question.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I already have in my head. I've had it since we had lunch.
Okay.
When we had lunch when I thought of it.
Okay, good.
So it's been brewing.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to be.
Here, okay?
Yeah.
And you got to think about it for a minute. It's going to be, my questions are, they're deep.
Yeah, but it's not coming just yet. I got time to prepare.
Right, yeah. You have time to get ready for the impact.
Okay.
So, big news right now is Ukraine.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. From my point of view, what I see going on, Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe it?
I didn't think it was actually. I didn't think it was going to do it. I mean, I thought it was bluffing. I thought, look, they move troops around all the time. He's just, he's doing it for show. Now, at the same time, he's done some sort of military crap all the time. He did that with Chechnya in 2000, which is technically part of Russia. He did that with Georgia in 2008, and he did it when he annexed Crimea in 2014. So it's not a tremendous surprise. I just thought he was. I didn't think it was. I don't say stupid, but I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he thought was going to come out of this.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb. So what do you think about these atrocities?
These alleged war crimes? I heard there's something like it.
So on and so forth.
It was like Bucha or Bucca or something like that. It's like B-U-C.
Right.
I don't remember how to pronounce it. They found a mass grave of civilians.
Hands tied behind the back, shot execution style.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where in Ukraine that is. I wish I knew where that was because I've heard the Russian military stalled out for the most part.
I think they were retreating back from Kyiv.
Yeah, but they had I know they were in the north. They were on the north side of Kyiv, outside of Kyiv.
They were retreating, and it was like the slash and burn campaign where we're retreating, but we're gonna murder everybody along the way.
Yeah, so I didn't hear how many people were in the mass grave, the event. I won't say event, but the mass. I didn't know that much particulars. I saw that came out. Was it yesterday that came out? That word came out about they had found a mass grave there. Uh-huh. I don't remember they saying how many people was. Was there children there? Or was
300.
300 people.
300 people. In a mass grave. Several mass graves. 300 people.
Yeah.
One of them was the mayor.
Really?
Yeah. And so watch this, man. So this has been 31 years. All right? Mm-hmm. So then in 1989 is when the wall came down. Mm-hmm. About 91 is when these little countries like Romania,
I think
Yugoslavia,
Romania. Those weren't in the Soviet Union though. Those were independent countries.
Right.
So you mean like Estonia, Latvia? Those were part of it.
Right, but Romania was communist, and
they were communists.
They were because they had this president called
Nicolae Ceausescu.
Yes.
I actually got told
Marty, you're good.
Yes.
So just let me finish. Just let me finish my point. So then in 89 the wall came down. So in between 89 and 91 you have these countries breaking away from Russia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, okay, the nonsense is over, right? It's we had World War II, we had Hitler.
Yeah.
We had the Cold War. Cold War was over, and so it's over, right? Everything's cool now. And then 30 years later, you have Putin committing atrocities. So it's like, I can't believe a first world country is doing crazy shit.
Russia's not. They've never been a first world country.
Oh, they're not first world?
No, well, so the original, the whole world thing.
They're not developing world.
Well, the whole world thing, the original context of the first, second, third world thing was not about economic development, but political allegiance. First world referred to countries that rely with America and NATO. Second world referred to countries that are aligned with the Soviet Union and just communism in general. And the third world were the non-aligned countries, the more neutral ones. Nowadays, we use it to refer to economic development, but we really don't use the term second world. They've never been a first world country. I mean, Russia's always...
So let's say it this way. Right. A developed country creating war. Right? So then, in Africa, I'd say, okay, Botswana's going to take over Ivory Coast, whatever.
Botswana's the most peaceful one. They've never had a coup. They're like the most stable one of Africa, actually.
They actually are. They just about 6 months ago legalized
gay marriage, I think.
Gay marriage, yeah.
Yeah, Botswana's... It's not a very big country. It's only 3 million, which for Africa is like a really, really small...
But here's my point.
Yeah.
I would expect something like this out of Africa. Or maybe out of South America. But I wouldn't guess it out of Russia. Because Russia is... From my point of view, they're part of the like the UN. They're part of the UN, right?
Everybody's in the UN. Even North Korea's in the UN. I mean, like Russia's like.
Dude, you're too smart for this show.
I'm not that. I mean,
I'm gonna turn off the damn TV here.
No, but I'm like, okay, so like, well, first of all, this isn't the first war in Europe since World War II. I mean, you had the whole Yugoslav wars, you had plenty. I mean, you had several genocides going on there. You had, Slobodan Milosevic and. I remember there was some
who died in custody.
There was Radzin, was it Medvedkovic? He's in prison in England now. And then there was that one Croatian guy. I remember he killed himself. I live TV remember seeing that actually a few years ago. Slobodan Projak or something. He took poison in front of after he got sentenced. He said in Croatian, he was like Stucci Slobodan Projak nosi something. He took like a little pill thing. And just to poison. He was the guy who was a film director actually before he was a soldier. He was a film director and then became a general. Don't know how you go from film director to general immediately, but I don't remember.
Zelensky, how do you go from being a comic to a president?
I don't know. That's right. That's one of the reasons people don't like. Some people don't trust him. Is like this guy is by nature an actor.
Dude, I trust him.
I mean, I got like a little iffy about him. Like just because I don't trust Putin means I trust you. Like. When that Congressman Madison Cawthorn from North Carolina, they called him a thug. We called him a thug. It's like he's not a thug, but his government isn't perfect either. People forget before this war, Freedom House, which is like that international group that associates countries or ranks them by like freedom of press, freedom of speech.
Hate that man. Dude, that dude Hawthorne, when he called Zelensky a thug in his country, whatever, he was wrong, man. I like Zelensky. Zelensky's a cool dude, man.
He's cool, but like I was saying, he's not a thug, but like people forget before this war, Freedom House was ranked. They ranked Ukraine the second most corrupt country in Ukraine. They said Ukraine the second most corrupt country in Europe. Number one was Russia. So it's like this is an excuse what Putin's doing.
Doesn't make Zelensky corrupt.
It doesn't, but Zelensky and his predecessor were not democratically elected, at least his predecessor. There was a revolution in 2014, the Euromaidan Revolution, and that was right around, I don't know if it was before, at the same time, the whole Crimea annexation happened. That was the whole start of the Ukraine conflict. And so Zelensky was democratically elected, but they point out, hey, before this war, Ukraine was a global hub for human trafficking, money laundering, and all sorts of other crimes. That doesn't make Putin a good guy, but don't create a counter-culture personality around Zelensky just because Putin has one, right? That this guy, Yeah, he puts on some fatigues, goes to the front lines, but he's not fighting, right? Can you imagine if one of our leaders, can you imagine if Trump or Boris Johnson or Trudeau put on fatigues and went to a military front line? People would give them crap. They'd go like, "Wait a minute, you're just showboating. You're not actually fighting, dude. This is just for show." Or like, instead they do caucus in the tank thing, when I'm not going to do caucus running a tank.
That ruined his campaign.
Exactly. So it's like, this doesn't that doesn't just excuse Putin, but it's like this doesn't make him a hero.
Yeah, but watch this though. Zelensky, United States offered him safe passage out of there.
Yeah.
And Zelensky says, "I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere." And every day he's in his bunker, he's in Kyiv, and he's working. And he's rallying his troops, he's rallying the people, and he's doing his job. He's not cutting and running. He's not. He's there doing his job. Whether he was a comic in the past or a trash collector, he's there doing his job, man. And I think he's doing a good job. I mean, to me, if he's playing a role, he's playing it per the script.
I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's like playing a role. I'm not calling him like fake or like an evil guy. I don't think that. But I don't like what I've seen of people like they went and invited the Grammys. What does it have to do with the Grammys? Like, this dude's the most fighting a war. You want him to take time out of his day to, hey, could you go speak at an American news like an entertainment thing? It's like. It's like
he's using social media. I mean,
he already has support though. He doesn't need it. He needs military support, which he is doing pretty well with. But he doesn't need morale. I mean, I'll be honest. Do you really think the Ukrainian army really cares what American teenagers think of them? Like, they don't care what they think of him. Like, they're pretty confident who they are.
No, but I think Ukraine's doing a great job of using social media to get out their plight.
They are. I mean, most countries. I mean, the only countries. A lot of countries have been quiet on this. India's been very quiet on this.
Pakistan's been very quiet.
Pakistan, but that's because their leader, Imran Khan's in the middle of an election.
China's being very, very careful.
China's been they're kind of, I won't say they're leaning towards Putin, but they're not going to destroy, they're not jumping on sanctions. They're like still letting him trade, but they're not giving him like military support or anything like that. They're not, Russia really doesn't need military support because they have a huge military industrial complex. I mean, the only countries in Europe that are giving support is Serbia. That's because Serbia absolutely hates America and they hate NATO for honestly not a horrible reason. When we bombed the crap out of them in the 90s, you can't expect the Serbian people to go, "We love America." So the Serbs are kind of with them. Hungary's a bit of interesting. Hungary's in the EU. Their president or maybe prime minister.
Hungary is Russia-leaning.
They're Russian. They're not pro-Russia, but they lean more in that favor. I don't know if he's a president or a prime minister. I don't know his official title. His election was Sunday. His name is Viktor Orban. He just got reelected. He won fourth term. It wasn't overwhelming, but it wasn't as close as they thought it was going to be. And one of the reasons they said he won was because he's like, hey, I'm going to make sure to keep the Ukrainian people out of, or the Hungarian people out of this. We're not going to go to war. Like, we can condemn Putin, but we're not going to. This is not our fight, right? Putin has to be with Hungary, and he points to the Ukrainians. Like, look, Zelensky, what have you guys done for us, right? Like, you guys, in fact, before this, you were the ones criticizing my leadership in my country. Why am I going to stick my neck out for you? I'm not going to hurt you, but it's not my fight. And then you have people like the Chechen leader, Razman Kadyrov, who's, putting on this big show. He's got, you ever heard of that guy? The leader, you've ever heard of Chechnya?
Yes, yeah, the guy with the beard like
Beard, this. Yeah, beard. He's got like 4 wives, 20 kids. He's like, used to be like a boxer. And he's the leader of Chechnya, like a de facto, like autonomously, and he is personally fighting Ukraine. He gives this big speech. He's got his military fatigues on, and people identified that the boots he was wearing were Prada combat boots. I kid you not. There are Prada boots. They match to the boots. Like, wait a minute, look at his boots. Like, zoom in. Those are Prada boots. Like, you can find those online. This guy's got
$1,000 boots.
He's wearing $1,000 boots while Lee Cheney, Allahu Akbar, because they're hardcore Islamists. Right. Which I find funny, when you look on social media and just in media in general, you see some of the far crowd leading for Putin because they don't trust the EU, and they kind of like Putin, they respect him, and I'm like, dude's relying on thousands of like Islamist soldiers. I'm not sure what, he's a defender. They say he's a defender of Christian values. Do you think Putin, a ex-KGB officer, cares about Christianity?
No, he doesn't. Like,
he panders. You're like, yeah, he panders. Yeah, sure, he goes to an Orthodox church. He also goes to the Western Wall and prays. He also goes to the Grand Mosque of Moscow. Like, he's a president. He's a leader. That's what they do. So, I mean, it's clearly not going well for Russia. I mean, it's a stalemate because they have not taken Kiev. They have not taken Zelensky. The Ukrainian army is still there. They got a lot of support.
I think he's trying to get a little bit of the east.
He just wants the east, yeah. But they're entering negotiation phase. I think it's in Turkey they're negotiating.
But now what? So then now what after he blasted the country? I mean, the country's flattened.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. It's broken.
Yeah.
Now what? I think Putin has burned his bridges. I don't see how any way we could be friends with him again after he blew up.
We were never friends with him. I mean,
even having a conversation with him.
I mean, after like all this, I mean, if Zelensky is like willing to, I don't think Zelensky's gonna be willing to give up land, but if he does, if he gives up, I think it's like Donetsk and Luhansk. I can't remember the name. I don't know how to pronounce. What's in the Donbass region? It's like two republics. In Eastern Ukraine.
But they don't want to be a piece of Russia.
They don't want to be a part of. Yes, they do. That was the whole concept. They're Russians. That was one of Putin's arguments. Like, hey, these guys aren't Ukrainians. They're Russians. They don't speak Ukrainian. They speak Russian. They're part of us. Like,
they speak Russian in Ukraine as well.
They do.
95% of people in Ukraine speak Russian.
But they're not ethnically Ukrainian, though. They're in the Donbass area. And so that's one of Putin's arguments. Is like, hey, these people don't want to be part of it. They want to be part of us. And
do you believe that to be true?
I mean, to an extent, yeah. I mean, because remember before the whole war, that they had been semi-independent for like I think since 2014, and
ever since Putin went into Crimea and sent in
and they've been conflict about that. But they
trouble.
did then there was conflict. The little green men they called them. There had been conflict there, but at the very least, they're like, hey, these people genuinely don't feel Ukrainian. They're like, I'm Russian. I'm not Ukrainian. I don't want to be represented by a Ukrainian leader. And that seems a little foreign to us because we're diverse. We're a diverse country. And not all of them, but I think a lot of them. Yeah, I think a lot of them.
The majority of people in Donbass are pro-Russian.
I think in the Luhansk and Donetsk Republic, yeah, I do think so. I think most of them are not Ukrainian. They don't see themselves as Ukrainian. They may not love Putin. They may not be like Putin worshippers, but they go, I don't want to be governed by Ukraine. I want to be part of this. They don't want a war over this. They don't want people dying over this, but they go, this is all, Putin's whole conflict. He's like, this Ukrainians be part of Russia and all this stuff. But he's like, these guys are not Ukrainians. They may have a Ukrainian passport. They may be a Ukrainian under the law, but they do not consider themselves Ukrainians. That is an excuse of war. That excuse you're invading this country, 44 million people, and causing a refugee crisis.
Well, I think the Texans wanted us to succeed from the United States.
Well, sometimes they joke about that. And they did briefly. I don't know how many people lived in. I don't know how big Texas was back then because Texas now is like 26, 30 million people. I'm not sure what it was back in the 1800s. But I mean, so yeah, I think that's the situation. I think it's like my take on the whole Ukraine thing. I mean, if Zelensky's willing to give those two the Donbass area, I don't think he is. But if he is, I mean, remember, Russia is on the UN Security Council. They can veto any major bills, and if China stands with them, and China's gonna root for a peace deal. They're gonna root for
can the world say, the hell with you, Russia? You're not gonna be on the UN.
They can kick them off. They're permanent members. So you have 5 permanent members, and you have a rotating amount that get. I'm not sure who the rotating members are now.
You can't undo them. You just can't say
the 5 are America, Britain, France, Russia, and China. They're you can't get them off. There's not a vote. They're the permanent Security Council.
Is that right?
Yeah. So and if they can get China on their side, because China's going to say we're neutral, we're going to support a peace plan because we want peace.
Sure, because China wants a piece of our economy.
Yeah, they do have.
They want a piece too, right?
Yeah. They're going to root for the peace plan. If they're not necessarily pro Putin, but they're going to root for a peace plan, and because you have 2 members on the Security Council, all it takes is one to veto it. Then yeah, I mean, so even if they want to expel Putin from the UN, they couldn't do that. It's not possible.
Do you want to talk about some celebrity news?
Sure, yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Will Smith and Chris Rock. I can't get it off my mind.
I know, I'll admit, I didn't actually watch the Oscars. I didn't
watch it either.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either, but I saw the clip.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith really went up there and
he smacked him. Smacked him silly.
Smacked him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
When I first heard of it, I remember I woke up in the morning. It was 9 o'clock, and I checked my phone. That's the first thing that people are talking about. It's on the first headline news, not Ukraine, but it's that. When I first heard Just a Slap, I thought this is probably staged because last year the Oscars had record low viewings. They want to get people to watch it. What better way to get people interested in going back and watching this than have 2 beloved actors and comedians have one of them smack him? What a better way to do that? It's going to create memes. People are going to get involved in it. It's going to be people going to be talking about it for a while. When I first heard, then I watched the clip. I I originally saw. I didn't see the one the Americans saw. I saw the ones that aired in Australia. Theirs wasn't censored, so I saw that. I was like, okay, I don't think this is staged, but this is still kind of odd that you'd go up there, walk like this perfect slap, like a movie slap, not like a little slap like that, but like a hardcore smack, and it's cussing him out. And I was like, I don't think this is staged, but like, this is just weird. Like, and then you go back and see some of the parts. I didn't notice at the beginning that Will was laughing. That's what threw me a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, he's laughing in the beginning, and he looks over at Jada. Jada's not laughing, and then he storms up there and smacks Chris Rock. So I and then after the reaction, you see Chris briefly, just for a second, he balls a fist back after he gets smacked, and then he doesn't do anything. It looked like he's going to throw a punch back. I think Chris Rock handled it very well, and seeing how people have been giving, it was insane to see how Will still got a standing ovation for his award, despite the fact he just smacked a guy. Most people probably get escorted out by the police, but when you're insanely wealthy, I guess you can get away with that.
I think it proves that Hollywood is spineless.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're spineless.
No doubt.
Millionaires give millionaires trophies
and applauding them. Especially after you just smack the crap out of some guy. Like,
a good guy who said a very light joke.
I mean,
that's a very light joke.
Yeah, I heard people say, well, he went too far. It's like, look, alopecia it's like, look, alopecia is
not leukemia.
Exactly. It's like, look, it's not the best thing, but like, look, it's not leukemia, it's not cancer, it's you lose your hair. If she's so bothered by that, she shouldn't be. I mean, she didn't wear a wig to the Oscars, so clearly she was trying to make a message, trying to make a point that, hey, I'm not going to let this alopecia define me. I'm going to be bigger than this. But then you get upset by. The joke he complimented her. G.I. Jane's a badass. Why would you be insulted to be called someone G.I. Jane?
Would you, if you had a chance, would you lose it with Demi Moore?
I don't know what Demi Moore looks like in my head. I'm not very good with celebrities, so I can't. Demi, what does Demi Moore look like? G.I. Jane.
She still is good.
Yeah, I never saw her.
Would you lose it with her?
Probably not.
Probably not?
Nah, be too intimidated. She's a celebrity. Too intimidated.
She's not thick either.
No, she's not
thick.
No. Plus, that was in the 90s. Of course, now she's like 20 plus years older now too.
Right.
But so yes, I don't think the joke was that far. It wasn't anyway. It wasn't even an insult.
Light joke.
It was a light joke.
It was a light joke. G.I. Jane too.
Chris Rock could have definitely said something worse if he wanted to.
And she's even wearing a green dress.
Yeah.
Like a military color.
Yeah, it's a military color, and when I saw the Will Lock thing, I was like, is this staged? Because like everybody else is like, these are all actors, and they're very good actors. So it was like, is this like...
Here's what's unfair, though.
Mm-hmm.
When Will went up there on stage, when Will was approaching him, he was smiling.
I didn't know that. How do you know he was smiling?
You can see from the angle. You can see he was smiling walking up there, and he was smiling walking back. He didn't walk up there with a growling-looking face. He walked up there smiling, as if he was going to say hello.
Really?
Yes. That's what caught him off guard. That's why he was like this with his hands behind his back.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
I didn't know that. Because you didn't see any camera from like up.
If you watch, just look at the side of his face. Mm-hmm. He didn't go up there looking mad. Look at him when he got up.
I didn't notice that.
Look at him when he got up.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a mean look on his face. He was smiling.
Yeah.
He caught him off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's smiling. Yeah. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Where is Will Smith's stock right now? Is it high or low?
Probably low. I mean, I heard he just got kicked off like the Academy. That the Academy.
He resigned.
He resigned. Okay, so I thought he got kicked off of it. I mean, I don't think it's the end of his career, but considering that most people have been rightfully giving him a lot of grief for this and had not taken his side, that's what convinced me that this is definitely real. Like, you would not do something like this and expect people to. You do not want. I don't think you want to throw away your career, but you're not doing that. But you don't want to get all this drama and beef and have people have a negative opinion of you intentionally.
I think right now, a studio would be hard pressed to hire him for a role.
Exactly. That's what convinced me. Okay, this was actually real. Like now, like this is just a stage thing to get views.
It's real. So I don't think because what's his price? $20 million to do a movie?
Maybe I don't.
He's an A-lister.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
At least $20 million, right?
Yeah.
So now he's going to do what now? Independent movies?
No, but he's gonna do a podcast. He's gonna create a podcast. That's what he's gonna do. A podcast.
Yeah.
He's gonna do cameos. He probably does cameos actually.
I don't think I'll watch Fresh Prince again.
I actually never saw Fresh Prince, so maybe I was a little biased because I loved Everybody Hates Chris as a kid. I thought after this I got saw they should have had the Everybody Hates Chris.
So what'd you watch when you were young? I mean, if you didn't watch Fresh Prince, I mean, what
I didn't really watch it. So I didn't watch like Disney stuff. Like as a kid, SpongeBob, of course. I got lucky because I know some people, their parents had let them watch SpongeBob, which must have been really difficult because so much of pop culture of my generation, like with memes, is the root. It comes down to SpongeBob. Like it's the most common thing. Like you can just say a line and people immediately know like what episode you're talking about, what happens next. So I watched like SpongeBob a lot. My favorite when I was a little kid was Thomas the Tank Engine. Got me my lifelong interest in trains, and I still have a ton of appreciation for, especially the original seasons, the production of it, the sets, the models, the filming. I've seen behind the scenes stuff. The music, how much effort and
the aesthetics.
The aesthetics, yeah, they put a lot of work into that. So that was one of my favorites as a little kid. SpongeBob, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I watched. I mean, that came out. I was in kindergarten, and it finished. I was in 6th grade. That was one of the few, like a lot of my friends watched that one too. So that was the other one we'd all like talk about. I watched that. I mean, there was some Nickelodeon things like iCarly. That was that one.
So you didn't watch like Different Strokes, Three's Company?
No, I was a kid.
You didn't?
No, I mean like adult shows.
Full House?
I saw a little. I never got into it. I watched Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
I really liked Malcolm in the Middle.
Who's the Boss?
No. Malcolm in the Middle. Everybody Hates Chris.
Saved by the Bell.
No. One of my coworkers loved that. I remember she would talk about it. I never heard of it until she mentioned it. I watched. Let's see what else.
How about Silver Spoons?
No. I watched Family Guy. I should probably was good for a kid, but like.
How about in the evening, Airwolf?
Never even heard of that.
You ever heard of Airwolf?
No.
How about Knight Rider?
I've heard Knight Rider. I didn't watch Knight Rider. No.
You didn't watch Knight Rider? Mm-mm. Michael Knight?
No, I didn't watch it. I mean, like you told me as a kid. So
Airwolf's cool, man. It's cool.
I never saw it.
It's about a helicopter. It's Whisper Quiet.
Really?
It was saving stuff. Man. Whisper Quiet helicopter.
Interesting.
How about the A-Team?
I seen a little bit, just like a few reruns. I actually first heard of the A-Team because of Family Guy. There was an episode like the beginning. Peter and his friends were going to the A-Team. They decided to become the A-Team because they go to a convention and like I think they won the award for the best A-Team costume. And then they go to the bar and like they fix some guy's chair and like we should do this. And so like I think like what was Peter? Who's the guy with the white hair? That wasn't Murdoch. Who was that?
Murdoch is an old man with white hair.
So he was Murdoch.
No, Hannibal.
Hannibal
was white.
Joe Swanson was Murdoch. Even though he was crippled. And then you had Mr. T. Then you had Face. That was Quagmire.
Face, a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how. So when I got a little older, I saw a few reruns of it. That's how I first heard was a Family Guy. I was like, oh, this seems like a neat show. So I watched Family Guy, American Dad. Again, like as a kid, you probably shouldn't be watching
like cartoon type stuff.
Some adult cartoons. I didn't see South Park until I was a little bit older. Uh-huh. King of the Hill, which was one of my all-time favorite shows ever. King of the Hill, love it. It's perfect, like comedy slice of life, but like, love that.
So, are you ready for your pop question? Because we're at the end.
Pop question. Let's hear it.
So before the pop question, I want to ask you: have you had fun?
With this, yeah.
Yes, you've had fun.
I've had a lot of fun. This is fun.
Would you come back?
Yes.
Will you come back?
Yes, probably.
Okay, so now I have you on tape saying that you'd come back.
Yeah.
So now you got to come back.
I have to come back. You can't disappoint. I can't disappoint people.
You can't. That's right. You can't walk back on this one. Okay. So, your pop question. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's a thinking man's question.
All right.
Okay. So, if your life were Star Wars, okay, we're talking about the first 6 episodes.
That's not the sequels. You're not putting the sequels in
No, the Disney stuff doesn't count. Because the first 6 are documentaries. The other stuff from Disney is made up stuff.
Disney's made some good content. Maybe not the movies, but they put some good content out there.
Okay. So, the first 6 movies. If your life were Star Wars, in which scene would you be in? In which scene would your life be in right now?
Right now, let's see. I'd be the farm boy, Luke being the farm boy on Tatooine, waiting for like something big to happen. He doesn't know what's coming next, but he's waiting for something to happen. And he doesn't know something big's about to happen yet, but he's right now in the moment. He's just wanting to go to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Right. So then, I think you're referring to the scene of the binary sunset.
Yeah.
And
he's looking at the twin suns.
At the twin suns.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wondering what's out there.
Yes.
That's where you are right now.
I think so.
I love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Honestly, that's what I had for you.
That's good. When you said Star Wars, I thought you were going to say, like, what character you'd be, or like which side would you fight for in the war, or something like that.
No, my questions are deeper, man.
That's a good question.
Now you have to ask me the same question.
All right, what scene would you be in the first 6 movies, and we're not counting Disney or the TV shows, I guess. I don't think you saw Clone Wars. So which of the 6 movies would your life be in? Which scene would you be in?
I'd be in Empire Strikes Back, and I'm gonna tell you which scene.
Oh gosh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Where Han Solo is with the crew,
mm-hmm.
Princess Leia,
mm-hmm.
and the robots, and they're navigating through an asteroid field.
Yes, I remember that.
That's where I'd be right now.
That's good. Yeah, they just escaped from Hoth. They're navigating. They're trying. I think they're being chased. I'm pretty sure they're being chased.
Right. I've got the bad guys. I've got the Star Destroyer after me.
Yeah.
With the TIE fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I have no option but to go into the asteroid field because I know they can't navigate as well as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm at.
You got to hide in that asteroid. You got
I've got asteroids coming at me left and right.
They land. There's like some space worm, I think, like in one of the asteroids.
He actually lands. He actually goes inside of an asteroid. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they land. They're outside. They have a mask on.
Yeah,
but no pressurized suits, just an air mask.
Right. So they go down in that big hole, right?
Yep.
And they're actually in the stomach of an animal.
I've read them in the stomach. I thought it was like a cave. I forgot it was the stomach.
No, it was the stomach of an animal.
Don't they see like what they call like Minox or the bats?
The bats. And,
yeah.
And then the ground started to move, right?
That's right. Okay.
Because they were in the stomach, and they're like, we need to get out of here. So they get in the spaceship, they take off, and they blast through what they thought was just a hole in the asteroid,
mm-hmm.
and then they actually blast out of the mouth of a creature, of a monster.
That's right.
And they blast out, and the monster tries to grab them
mm-hmm.
like this, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I'm in the asteroid field.
You're in the asteroid field.
I'm in the asteroid field, man.
But you're gonna be swallowed by. You're gonna go inside of a worm unknowingly yet.
Unknowingly. That's where I am. Blake, this has been fun.
This has been really fun, man.
Can I shake your hand?
Yeah.
This is awesome, man. This is awesome.
This was great.
I really appreciate it, man. You're cool. You're fun.
So are you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Maybe my destiny's already been told. I've already done my destiny. Yours is still ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luke looking at the binary suns.
Yeah.
Right? I'm Han Solo. I am what I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm a gambler.
A smuggler, a criminal.
I'm a criminal. But a nice criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Smooth criminal.
He's got heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So this has been fun.
Yeah.
Your first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Your introduction to the world.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you again.
I look forward to seeing you too, Greg.
You want some outro music?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do some outro music here. Here's some outro music. That's it, man.
Yeah. That's some good tea.
Good tea.
Yeah.
You want to do a plug for the sponsor?
Plug for the sponsor, yeah. So this tea came from Taqueria El Azteca, the best Mexican place in Greensboro, North Carolina. Top quality foods located conveniently near the airport and near the local colleges, right off Friendly Avenue. Check it out.
All right, man. Thank you, pal. This has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. April 5th, right?
April 5th, that's right. Yeah, April 5th.
Okay, and you'll be back, right?
I'll be back, yeah.
For sure.
For sure, yeah. I wasn't sure it's April 5th. I don't have my watch on. I left it, so I don't know the date. That's what I always check. I'm like, oh, actually, I think it's April 5th, yeah.
I heard you sometimes wear 2 watches.
No, I was...
That's what I heard.
I've never known.
Yeah, someone told me you wore 2 watches so you'd have more time.
That's good. I never heard that. I never heard that one before.
All right, man. There you go, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, man. That was awesome.
It was fun.
That was cool.